How's it going, everybody? It's the Kage Little Fox. Here's my channel where I talk about anime, video games, cartoons, most notably Sonic and Ninja Turtles. And today I'm here to talk about more anime. Yep, that's right. I did a video about Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds not too long ago at the start of the year. So I wanted to do a few more videos about it, because, how could I not? Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds is such a good anime. It was really nice to really finish that anime after all these years, because I haven't touched it ever since I was a kid. And then I decided, you know what? Let me actually sit down and actually try to rewatch Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds and watch the stuff that I haven't watched, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So it's definitely up there with the GOATs with the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Series and Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. But I want to actually talk about the final duel between Yusei and his final villain, Zone. So this is what this video will be about, and then I'll probably do another video talking about Jack Atlas, Yusei's rival. So let's get right into it. Throughout the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, usually the final villains are in the background waiting in the wings to execute their master plan, whether it's Yami Bokora or Night Shroud, who have been around since the beginning of their respective series. Zone is the leader of Leicester, which was originally led by Rex Goodwin, where he wants to prevent his apocalyptic future from happening by destroying Neo-Domino City, which led to the events like Zero Reverse, which took the lives of both of Yusei's parents. Zone is from 200 years away from Yusei's timeline, where he's the last human survivor, after a global human genocide for abusing the power of synchro summoning to evolve faster as a race. After failing to revive humanity, Zone and his three followers, also survivors, Paradox, Aporio, and Antony, tried to change history via time travel. Paradox went back in time to Yugi Moto's era to assassinate Maximilian J. Pegasus to stop duel monsters, but he's stopped by the three kings of dueling, Yusei Fudo, Jaden Yugi, and Yugi Moto. Later, when Yusei and Team 5Ds were competing in the World Racing Grand Prix, they got caught up with Aporio and his three personalities, Lester, Primo, and Jacob, but was defeated by Team 5Ds. And later, Antony was defeated by Yusei, who was trying to ensure his growth by learning Clear Mind. After Leicester managed to bring down the future city of Neo-Domino City, also known as the Ark Cradle, Zone plans on using it to destroy the present-day city in order to stop movement from even happening, even if it costs millions of lives to save the future. With the help of the rival team, Team Ragnarok, Team 5Ds managed to board the Ark Cradle as the public maintenance security evacuates the civilians. Team 5Ds progress through the Ark as pairs, defeating the remaining Leicester figures. They finally reach the leader, Zone himself, but before they could duel him, Aporio resurfaces one last time. But this time, he actually is here to help Team 5D, surprisingly enough. Thanks to Lua's efforts in their last duel, he instilled Aporio with a newfound hope that he's been looking for his whole life, which convinces him that Zone had orchestrated Team 5D's group to grow, thanks to Bruno, in order to stop him. Zone denies this assumption, then proceeds to duel Aporio. During the duel, which becomes one-sided due to Zone's Time Lord cards' card effects, Aporio's Afterglow card is his one last resort, until Zone sabotages him with a strategy to redraw his card. After drawing the card that embodies the one thing that has caused his life so much grief, Zone finishes off Aporio, ending their duel. As Team 5Ds tends to Aporio in his last moments, Aporio feels disappointed that he couldn't contribute to their cause or reach out to his friend one last time. Team 5Ds reassures Aporio that he's given them hope by helping them understand Zone's deck better. Hope that the opposite of despair, the very thing that he had prided himself on. But before his death, he quickly modifies Yusei's Duel Runner to battle against Zone. Before Yusei can make one final stand against Zone, each member of Team 5Ds gives Yusei their ace monster. After Zone broadcasts his actions to Neo-Domino City, him and Yusei take flight. Zone also reveals that he was the one that caused Zero Reverse to change his timeline, and that he's been manipulating Yusei's life up until this point, bragging about how he's a god in comparison to him. The duel begins with Yusei managing to summon two Synchro monsters, Crow's Black Winged Dragon and Jack's Red Archfiend Dragon, automatically going all out against Zone, but Yusei is unable to attack due to Zone's Time Lord's effects, so he waits for him to return to his deck during his standby phase to find an opportunity to attack. Zone then damages Yusei with a card effect that deals 1000 points of damage during his draw phase. Yusei takes damage and then spirals out of control in his Duel Runner. As he regains control, he is able to synchro summon Akiza's Black Rose Dragon and has 3 Signer Dragons on the field. Yusei uses Black Rose's card ability to destroy all the monsters on the field, but protects his with a trap card. The trap card also deals 500 points of damage for each synchro on the field. Since Yusei has 3 synchro monsters, he deals 1500 points of damage on Zone, even breaking off a piece of Zone's mask and life support system, revealing Zone to be an elderly version of Yusei Fudo himself. Everyone is shocked by this revelation, as this was foreshadowed in a Bruno's flashback and noticed even by Lua, who saw the similarities between Yusei's Dual Runner and Zone's life support system. Zone reveals that he comes from 200 years in the distant future, where there's no more Yusei Fudo, no more Jack Atlas, no more Akiza Izoi, no more Crow Hogan, no more Jaden Yugi, no more Chaz Princeton, no more Zane Truesdale, no more Cyrus Truesdale, no more Hasselberry, no more Alexis Rhodes, no more Mai Valentine, no more Hiroto Honda, no more Joey Wheeler, no more Seto Kaiba, and no more Yugi Moto, where humanity's negative impulses and greed abused movement as a power source. So the machines overseeing this had created weapons to eliminate the human race. Zone was originally a scientist trying to save humanity by trying to control their behavior after noticing what the machines do to others. So Zone used futuristic surgery to alter his likeness and personality to resemble Yusei, who was a heroic legend in his timeline. This way, he can inspire people and counter the mech lords with clear mind, and for a moment it worked, but it was a little bit too late since his message didn't reach the world in time, and for the most of the ones that he did save died in front of him, leaving him as one of the last 4 remaining human survivors. Zone continues to duel Yusei, regains his life points back to 4,000, and then summons 5 Time Lords Yusei can't attack. All after Zone sends back Black Rose, Red Archfiend, and Black Winged Dragon. He does manage to summon Luca's Ancient Fairy Dragon, but Zone returns the card back to his deck, and with his field wide open, Zone attacks. Thanks to one of Yusei's card effects from his hand, he's able to summon Lua's Power Tool Dragon to protect himself from damage. As time is running short and debris of the Ark knocks Yusei off his Dual Runner, Yusei almost falls to his death until a mysterious beam of light surrounds him made of movement. The light is the spirit of Yusei's father, Professor Fudo, appearing in his consciousness. Yusei tells his dad he can't beat him even with all of his strength. That's when Professor Fudo slaps the mess out of Yusei, then reminds him he named his discovery the Yusei particles after him, so that Yusei would be able to guide and unite the people. Yusei regains his confidence again and vows never to give up to the end. Professor Fudo disappears and tells Yusei he'll always be with him by his side. Yusei wakes up and hops back on his flying Dual Runner, and everybody cheers for him. Yusei then summons Turbo Synchron to the field, then uses him as summoning material along with Power Tool Dragon in order to synchro summon Lua's Signer Dragon, Lifestream Dragon. Yusei uses Lifestream Dragon to restore his life points back to 2,000, then he activates his spell card he drew, Synchron Panic, which allows him to revive any Synchro monster he has summoned prior. So he brings back Ancient Fairy Dragon, Black Rose Dragon, Black Winged Dragon, and Red Archfiend Dragon. And with Lifestream Dragon, he changes their levels to 1 so he can synchro summon Shooting Quasar Dragon. As Yusei flies into outer space and transforms with the Crimson Dragon signer marks into over-the-top Clear Mind and Limit over Axel Synchron, and with Shooting Star Quasar Dragon's effects, it kind of counters the Time Lord's destruction negation. Also, it's able to attack with the amount of synchro materials used, which will be about 5. So Yusei destroys all of Zone's Time Lords, including Quasar Dragon and Mutual Destruction. When Quasar Dragon is destroyed in battle, Yusei can special summon Shooting Star Dragon, then attack Zone directly with 700 life points left. Yusei removes 7 speed counters in order to draw 1 card. Zone gets frustrated and summons a continuous trap card called Infinite Light, which allows him to summon as many Time Lords to the field, each with 4,000 attack points. And for Zone's ultimate Time Lord, Cephalon gains the same number of attack points on his field, and since he has 5, it gains 20,000 attack points. As Zone attacks Yusei in his final attack, Yusei activates his trap card, Converging Wishes, and negates battle damage when Shooting Star Dragon is destroyed, and allows him to synchron summon Stardust Dragon, Yusei's ace monster and Signer Dragon. Then Yusei activates Converging Wishes' other effect, which increases Stardust's attack power based off of how many dragon type Synchron is in his graveyard. It says power tool is removed from play. This applies to Quasar, Ancient Fairy, Lifestream, Black Rose, Black Winged, and Red Archfiend Dragon, increasing Stardust's attack points to 23,000 attack points, which is higher than Cephalon's 20,000. The trap also forces them to do battle this turn. Zone's last trick is to negate the battle damage by removing 4 of his Time Lords, but it's not enough to negate the power of 6 dragons. Yusei's Stardust Dragon delivers the final blow, shooting Sonic to Zone's life points.
攻撃力を墓地にあるドラゴン族シンクロモンスター全ての攻撃力の合計分アップさせる。俺の墓地にいるのは7体のシンクロモンスター。
でかい。
なんという大きさだ。攻撃力23,000だと。さらにストイシ願いは墓地のシンクロモンスターをデッキに戻すことで、このターンスターダストドラゴンと指定したモンスター同士を強制的にバトルさせる。俺が指定するのは究極次回神セフィロン。だがセフィロンはフィルド次回神を除外することでこのカードの破壊とバトルダメージを無効にする。
お願い、エンシェントフェアリードラゴン。行くぞ、ライフストリームドラゴン。力を貸してブラックローズドラゴン。
頼むぜブラックフェザードラゴン。くらえ我が魂レッドデーモンズドラゴン。よし、これでセフィロンを守る盾は全て消滅した。行け
ユーセイ。
これが俺の最後の攻撃だ。俺たちの未来を受け取れゾーン。俺たちの思いが未来へと続く光さす道となる。スターダストドラゴン究極次回神セフィロンに攻撃。シューティングストリー。バカだ、私が負けるだと。
ついに決着。奇跡のデュエル、奇跡の大逆転勝利でネオドミノシティを未来に導いたのは我らがヒーロー有働雄星。
やった、すごいぞ。俺たち助かったんだ。ネオドミノシティは救われたぞ。
ユーセイが勝った。
やったぜユーセイ。よーし。
The crowd cheers and celebrates Yusei Fudo for saving Neo Domino City. Then Yusei remembers a promise that he had made to Bruno, that he would save Zone. Yusei checks on Zone, who's dying due to the damage done to his life support system. He embraces his defeat and then tells Yusei that he just wanted to see his hero change the future, and at the end of his life, he witnessed it. Zone also asks Yusei on whether or not he did was right or not, about him trying to make his own future and trying to change history. Then Yusei tells Zone that he only did what he thought was right, and that his actions have reached the people of Neo Domino City of today. With the arc still falling apart, Yusei needs to strike its core to send it back in time, but he would have to sacrifice himself in order to do so since his body contains moment. Team 5D tries to escape but are rescued by the Crimson Dragon God while Yusei is attempting to strike the core, so that the arc can return. Zone appears and has moment in his body like Yusei and decides to sacrifice himself instead, in the place of Yusei, as the Yusei who had died. He saves Yusei, and in his last moments he thinks about his friends Antony, Paradox, and Aporio. As Team 5Ds is safe, they're tearing up after realizing that Yusei hasn't escaped yet, and believe that he had died on the Arc Cradle as it disappears, crying out his name and everything. As the Arc Cradle disappears, however, Yusei resurfaces and is greeted by his friends, ending this episode. Alright, so I'm going to talk about some of the things I liked about the duel and stuff now that I've kind of already covered everything, and then I'll probably end the video. But anyways, seeing Yusei ride on the dual gunner was like watching him like ride on like an actual living sci-fi type of dragon and stuff while battling Zone, which was like really great to see that be like one of the final duels of the series and stuff. And then seeing like, you know, him synchro summon like Quasar Dragon and Yusei turning all like golden and stuff by using Clear Mind was like such a cool anime like transformation moment and like so well animated. Like I'm just saying, like that stuff was like really pleasing in the eyes and stuff, and I just love the sound effects and all that stuff, and the music like playing in the background, like it was so awesome. And then of course the side characters were also pretty great. Like, you know, it was nice seeing them cheer for Yusei and stuff, or how like some of them like Jaeger or Trudge, you know, they all kind of started off as like villains for Yusei. So it's such a like a 180 seeing them like really root for Yusei and stuff. Like Jaeger, he almost jumped off the building trying to save Yusei when he fell off his door runner almost, you know? And just seeing them like, you know, save civilians and all that stuff, like, yeah, staying behind despite like the entire city, like going to like, you know, it's gonna kill them if they stay in the city any longer if Yusei doesn't come through. But they all had like that belief in him, and they all were like, you know, so it was definitely like a nice like kind of coming together human kind of moment and stuff to like see that from those characters. And seeing like Yusei's friends like Martha, Carly, his landlord, Saiga, etc. It was really nice seeing them like cameo, where all of them were great, and it definitely added a lot of value to everything. I kind of liked how Carly was in the background and she had her little Jack Atlas teddy bear and stuff, you know. So that was pretty funny. But yeah. And also, of course, it was also pretty cool too seeing Team 5Ds and stuff, even though like, you know, they weren't exactly like physically a part of the duel itself. They felt so involved as if they were actually like battling side by side with Yusei. And technically they were, but you know. But Yusei was the one that was making all the plays and the strategies and stuff. But you know, every time like when they were like when Yusei was about to summon one of their cards and stuff, you know, they will break out into like, you know, like Yusei along with the said character would like, you know, say the chant like Crow and stuff. He'd be like, "Dark gales reveal hidden wishes on your wings, synchro summon." Or like Jack, he would be like, "The ruler's heartbeat will now fill through here. Take witness to its creation-shaking power. Synchro summon," and then he'll summon, you know, Red Archfiend Dragon or Crow's Black Winged Dragon or Aki and stuff. Her chilling flames engulf the entire world. Pitch dark flower set into bloom. Synchro summon, and then Black Rose Dragon or Luca. The holy light of protection now crosses and becomes eternal light. Synchro summon, Ancient Fairy Dragon. Or like Lua, of course, you know, the courage and power to protect the world's future is a revolution. And he'd be like, Synchro summon, Life Stream Dragon. You know, like that was all really good stuff right there. Like I really enjoyed seeing like Team 5Ds and stuff. It really felt like I said, they were really a part of the duel. So that was definitely like one of the best moments and stuff. And like right down from the calls, the attacks, the signer marks, all that stuff. It was really awesome. And how can I also forget to mention how the tournament announcer, like, you know, his name is MC. Like, he was definitely a G for staying behind too and stuff. He stayed with Jaeger and Sherry's bodyguard or her butler and stuff, you know, like he stayed behind and stuff, and he was like, you know, this is kind of actually the second time where he almost died just to commentate on a duel and stuff, because in the fight with Yusei and Aporio back in the World Pricks tournament, like he literally stayed behind and was like, look, I know this is dangerous and stuff, but I'm still gonna like commentate on this, you know. And he was commentating on Yusei and Zone's duel and stuff, and it was like, man, this is gonna be the duel of the century and stuff. Like, this is like one of the most all-time duels. And on top of that, you know, it also helped out the civilians, because a lot of the people were getting backed up or distracted by Yusei and Zone's you know, by their duel and stuff, where they started to like slag off, and Trudge and Mikage, they had a they struggled to kind of move everybody along. So the announcer was like, all right, everybody, you guys keep going, I'll stay behind. I don't care if I die for this one, but I'm gonna like commentate on it, and you guys can like hear it in the background and stuff like that. So he really did like give a lot of depth to like Yusei and Zone's to their duel and stuff, really hyping things up. So it really felt like legit and stuff. And it was nice hearing him cheer and everything, hearing everybody else cheer. Like it was, like I said, it was amazing. Zone was also a pretty great final villain, being like a dark reflection of Yusei himself. His story is very sympathetic, and his motives, while amoral, was kind of justified. Like I get it because he went back in time so he can kind of change his future and stuff, so that like humanity can be saved and whatnot, which is pretty selfless. And technically, it did kind of come through and stuff, thanks to like him telling like warning Yusei about this, and then eventually Yusei was able to make a change in the future, so that like moment and all that stuff, and imaging and music and all that. So that's kind of resolved in a few episodes after this episode, like or after these episodes. So that's pretty nice, And honestly, he kind of reminds me, like, he's kind of on the level of like Liquid Ocelot when you really think about it from like the Metal Gear Solid series, where he kind of altered his personality and his appearance and stuff to kind of match like being like someone else. Like you say, for example, because Zone is somebody else completely different. I wasn't sure, like when I was watching this, I was like, wait, how is Yusei, or how many years does Zone's timeline take place in? Like yeah, but obviously it takes place in a timeline where everybody's kind of like passed away, like a distant future almost, and pretty much like I was like, so that's weird. So is this like a clone or something of Yusei, or was he like Yusei somehow brought back to life? Well, technically speaking, but Zone used technology and all that stuff to like alter his appearance to resemble Yusei, and changed his personality kind of like resemble him. So he's kind of like an older, broken version of Yusei. Like obviously he was like he looked like Yusei when he was like 17 and stuff, and then eventually he got older and stuff, since he couldn't find any solutions to like saving humanity after the whole human genocide thing. So but yeah, so anyways, but yeah, so that was pretty much Yoga. But I do kind of wish that like for his own deck though, which it's kind of his Time Lord's deck, which is okay. I got nothing against it. I know I didn't really talk much about like any of his cards like that per se in the video. But I kind of wish that if they wanted to do something with like creative with Zone, since like Zone had similarities to Yusei with his appearance and Full Runner and stuff, I wish they would have also made like a dark version of like Yusei's deck as well. Kind of like how now that Yugi had to like deal with Arcane back when he had like a even though Arcane's not like an evil version of Yugi or anything, but he's somebody that has a similar deck to Yugi. He has a spellcaster, dark magician type deck. So, it would have been interesting if like Yusei had gone up against something that was like, oh, he's got the exact same cards as like me and stuff. This is weird. And then, yeah, I don't know. But that was just what I was kind of expecting, or what I kind of might have wanted deep down inside. But the Time Lords thing it still worked out. So anyways, but yeah, not to mention like that also pretty much complicated Yusei's duel against, and stuff against him, because he knew every single trick and every single strategy that Yusei would make, because he knows what Yusei knows and all that. So yeah, that's pretty much that. And then on top of everything else, like what's crazy is Zone is actually like the last living human being inside the original Yu-Gi-Oh timeline as well, before things get altered. And then Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, I think, is like an altered version, like it takes place after Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. I'm not sure how long or whatever the time gap is. I haven't seen Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, to be honest, but that's what I heard. Like it's like a little bit later down the timeline, not that down, but a little bit after Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, and then Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 and all that stuff is like a different timeline compared to the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Like stuff from like Yu-Gi-Oh! DX to 5Ds and then Zexal. But yeah, so Zone is actually the last human being, so that's pretty crazy, right? Yusei was also like great as always, and it shows during his this duel definitely. Seeing him have that like moment with his dad's spirit and stuff, and how he like uplifted him with that speech, that was really awesome. And Yusei giving like those heroic speeches about hope and not giving up on his future, and his bond with his friends, like that was like it may have been a little cheesy and cliche, but I mean, come on, you all love that stuff when it comes to like anime or these heroic moments. even seeing like how creative that Yusei was being during like the duel by including his friends as like cards and stuff, that was also pretty amazing too. Like, you know, even before like anyone can kind of say, well, Yusei won because he had plot armor. Well, he won thanks to his blaze, his friend's dragon type synchron monsters. He also won thanks to like, you know, Koryo's sacrifice. He won thanks to like, you know, Bruno teaching him clear mind. And he also won too thanks to the Crimson Dragon mark. So yeah. So those are the reasons why Yusei kind of won the duel against Zone. Otherwise, probably not. But still, you know. And I always love like, you know, they're always at like sometimes to kind of like debunk some of those claims about plot armor and stuff. Sometimes, you know, there's always got to be a building reason why this character can win. So yeah. Because, you know, Zone comes from the future and stuff, and obviously he knows how Yusei thinks, and he has, you know, usually in the future and stuff, you always have stronger cards that are stronger than the previous generation. So, like, you know, take for example, like Yugimoto, his cards are very basic and stuff, but yet, you know, Yugi can still become the king of games with his cards, you know, or Jaden's cards. They're not the most strongest cards around, but they're still pretty, you know, like it depends on how the person can utilize those cards and stuff, right? Then, of course, Stardust Dragon, Yusei's favorite card, which, you know, may be weaker than Quasar and Shooting Star Dragon, but it was the one that finished the duel, and it's like, you know, its depth is kind of within Yusei's chance. Clustering wishes will become a new shining star, become the path its light shines upon, Synchro Summon, Soar, Stardust Dragon, when, you know, Stardust may not be like the most powerful kind of card, but it kind of, you know, shines hope in it, you know, it's able to overcome adversity, you know, and it's multiple uses to how you use Stardust Dragon. So that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about here about Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds and that final battle between Yusei and Zone. It's the second to last battle in the series, and then after that, the last few episodes is about Yusei and Jack and their rivalry and stuff, and then finishing off that duel. Which I like how in that duel, spoilers alert, Yusei finishes with Junk Warrior, which, man, it's been a hot ass minute since they had Junk Warrior, and I was like, man, I wish they could have included Junk Warrior somehow in this version, but heck, like in this duel, but oh well, you know. But at least we got him in that, you know, Scrap Iron Fist and all that, yeah, that was pretty cool. But yeah, but anyways, tell me down below what you guys think. Have you guys seen that Yusei versus Zone match, and what do you think about it, or will you check it out now that I kind of brought it up? Alright, but tell me down below what you guys think.